My name is Pat Kappas, and I am the Community Engagement Director with the Explore Asheville Convention and Visitors Bureau. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our partner organizations and co-sponsors, the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Association, the Asheville Independent Restaurant Association, the Brewers Alliance, the Asheville Grown Business Association, Smart Start of Buncombe County, and Visit NC 365. So thank you all. Today, our webinar will focus on family-friendly workplaces and how they can support your business. We know family-friendly business practices such as paid leave, support for childcare, and flexibility are important now more than ever for employers to reopen and retool their business. These practices support business resiliency and help keep our community, children and families healthy. So we are pleased to bring this information to you and share these great resources that are available for hospitality businesses. And I'd like to introduce our presenters today. We have Lisa Finaldi, the Community Engagement Leader from the North Carolina Early Childhood Foundation, and Jim Needell from the HR team from Performentor, who is an expert in hospitality. And we will also hear from one of our local partners that we all know and love, restaurateur and award-winning chef Katie Button. So during the presentation, you can place your questions in the chat box anytime, and we'll answer them later in the program. Also a reminder that the program will be recorded. If you have any technical difficulties, keep in mind you'll receive a recording within 1 week with more information about how you can work with Family Forward NC. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Lisa.
Thank you, Pat, and good morning to everyone. We're excited to be here with you. Today, I wanted to introduce you to Family Forward North Carolina and how family-friendly benefits in your workplace can provide you with a strategic advantage. So just a little bit of background about Family Forward. It is an initiative of the North Carolina Early Childhood Foundation. And our focus is on working with employers to engage them and inspire them about the value of a family-friendly workplace. For example, to increase productivity, recruitment, retention, also support our economy, and most importantly for my organization, support children's healthy development. And I'll tell you why and how important it is for you to contribute there. So just a little bit about brain development. We always want to tell people how important this period is between birth and a child being around 8 years old. So we talk about brains as being built and not born. That's because those early years, there's rapid brain development, and it really is the foundation for life, both for academic, career success, things like being able to work in a team, focus, plan. And this is all happening when you're cognitive, your hearing, your eyesight, when all these things are developing in those early years. And end of third grade reading and math tests are a predictor of both academic and career success. So when we're able to help children build brains, then we're supporting the workforce of tomorrow. And everyone can help with that. So we're just going to take a minute and get a pulse of the group. I'm going to have a short poll come up here. If you can take a minute to answer, tell me how you're feeling today as we get started. Okay, well, the great news is that people are feeling more positive, responsible, innovative, curious. So that's great to hear. All right, so we'll keep moving. Wanted to tell you a little bit about what our program is. The Family Forward initiative has had to adapt, as we all have during the pandemic. And so by providing a rapid response program, we feel that we can give you more support in a quicker format and more strategically during the crisis. So the work, as we said earlier, how family-friendly workplaces provide that strategic advantage. We're going to show you more about how you can bring workers back more quickly and more fully, establish that culture of resilience and security, and support the health and well-being of children. And this is also about reducing turnover, and Jim will talk about that in a few minutes. We see that employees have emerging needs. Some of them were here before the pandemic, obviously many during, and we feel, and the research is showing, that many of them are here to stay. We have 400,000 working parents in North Carolina who have children between the ages of birth and 6. We also have a childcare system that is not adequately providing for parents who are working. For example, in 99 out of our 100 counties, we are considered childcare deserts. And that means that for every one infant or toddler, there is one space for an infant or a toddler for every 3 children that could have access. We also see that leave is a significant issue. We know that during the pandemic, some of the federal rules and regulations required paid leave for businesses. And now, as a result of the changes, that regulation has expired. And now until the end of March, you can receive tax credits if you continue to pay for leave. With also in the area of paid leave, we recognize sick leave is a critical area for hospitality workers. And then the whole issue of scheduling, it has many facets. It's about flexible, reduced. We talked about schedules that needed to be predictable before the pandemic. So all of this comes into play when we think about family-friendly workplaces. So we also know that these unmet needs of employees aren't really impacting your business. I'll just mention a few of these. Across the country, we've had 2.2 million mothers leave the workforce since March. So we don't know what happens in the future with these women. Are they coming back to work? What will their career opportunities be? And how does that affect their future economic mobility? And we also see that turnover is a very serious issue for many businesses. And by offering these family-friendly policies, we'll be showing you how the cost of turnover can really be reduced, which is an important part of your retooling and reopening your workplace. So part of our program today, Jim, as was introduced by Pat earlier, Jim has expertise in hospitality, both in operations and HR, and he's on our team to provide you with some support around how can I consider what the opportunities are for me within a family-friendly workplace. He'll show you what the benefits are. He'll give you a little teaser about how we can support you through your program. And we do have a grant from a foundation that allows us to provide some hours of no-cost support if you're motivated and interested to look at what are the industry appropriate benefits that you can offer, which of them can you offer quickly, at what cost, and what might your plan look if you look to the future. And we'll especially hear today from Katie Button about that and how she's on a journey to create a family-friendly workplace for her business. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jim.
My name is Jim, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about how COVID has really impacted our industry, this hospitality industry, how we got here. For the first matter is, nobody in the world expected the hospitality industry to come to a screeching halt based on COVID. Now, as we start this flywheel again, there's a lot of differences that are going to be coming forward among our people and about our workforce due to the results of COVID and the impact that COVID has had. So where we find ourselves today is more than half of the businesses have offered a paid leave, paid sick leave, and the rest are offering an unpaid leave. There's been a big push for additional training, including pandemic-related training for all employees. And lastly, and now it's more than 1/3, it's more like a half of the hospitality and retail businesses are interested in providing an employee assistance programs for their employees. We call them an EAP. And we think this is going to become the price of entry. And pretty soon, every single employer is going to need to offer their people an EAP. Let's look at some commonalities across the hospitality industry. So we know takeout sales we think takeout sales will remain a major source of revenue for most of us. We suspect that dining room revenues are going to remain somewhat flat. But physical layouts are going to require different configurations moving forward for new and existing restaurants and businesses. And the staffing models, they're definitely changing, and they're going to reflect our new business trends. Typically our cost of labor averages around 20%. We're going to need to really look at that because that's about our only real variable cost that we have left. Let's look at the people side. On average, statistics tell us that turnover is 75%. I think many of us on the call might argue it's closer to 100%, and that depends on the type of business that you're managing. Inc. magazine estimates the cost of employee turnover is up 150% of the departing employee's salary. That's a hard number to quantify for sure, especially in the hospitality business and all the impact that has on our customer service, our ability to provide great food. In many cases, it's a soft number, similar to the cost of hire. We have a lot of restaurants that we help determine what the cost of the hire is, and it's a very soft cost. But with less dining room revenue, we know that the cost of turnover is going to continue to increase. And this is an area where owners and operators are going to have to put much of their focus. And this is why. I can't advance the slide. The psychological work contract has directly been impacted by COVID. It's changed from what it used to be in the past, and it's going to continue to change. I think post-COVID, our employees are going to be thinking and acting much differently. As employers, we're going to have to look at the employee's organizational fit, not just job fit. And we're going to need to provide a stress-free work environment. Stress-free work environment also includes a keen awareness of social issues. We're going to need to present this not only internally in our businesses, but also externally as part of our employment brand. We're still going to need to deliver training to develop our employees and provide opportunities for growth and advancement. Moving forward, though, greater flexibility with scheduling is going to become paramount. This is much due to the new generation of employees that we're going to find in hospitality. Many of this new workforce values the contribution much greater than just monetary compensation. Much of it's made up of the millennials. This 35% number was actually pre-COVID, and that number is going to be much higher right now because almost 20% of the former hospitality workforce are not coming back. That's a given. Many of those folks have gone on to try to work on things that they were doing beforehand before they came to hospitality and just decided to take another route or career path. A lot of the aging workforce, they're not coming back either. Many of them opted to take an early retirement. As we look at the millennials, we used to think of them in the business around entry-level employees, people coming in for their first jobs. Well, now that's changed a little bit. And fast forward, the average age of millennials in our business is between 23 and 35. So these millennials now are supervisors, they're managers, they're owners, and they're making a lot of decisions, and much of it is valuing their work-life balance. So 77% of them, again, this is pre-COVID, said that a flexible schedule will make them more productive. And that's where family-friendly benefits can come in and really address the primary drivers of turnover. We spoke about how important the cost of turnover is and how we have to minimize that. And this is really the only variable we have. So in essence, we have to reinvent ourselves. Shifting employee needs as well. So post-COVID, our employees are going to have a much different approach to their work. This is one of the most important messages, I think, of our presentation today, is that in the future, staffing is going to require a blending of full-time and part-time workforce. This is an area that I want to talk about in a little bit as well. But also needed is this trust in the workplace. And how you get that is by having transparent communication strategy. Performancer can help you with that. And it's part of building what we call a trust strategy for your business. In many cases, it's also including social and cultural awareness and the ability to provide a safe work environment. The forward movement of food service is going to require us to start offering health and wellness benefits for full-time employees. That soon will become a competitive advantage. And the industry mindset is going to tell us that there also is a benefit for adding these health and wellness family-friendly benefits for part-time workers as well. So how do we have an advantage through our people? We now leverage the people side post-COVID. We know that long-term tenure, when we do have low turnover, enables great customer service. Our long-term employees know our customer's name and vice versa. We're going to need to also explore out-of-the-box alternatives for staffing. This again will be a competitive advantage when you're competing for the workforce, for hiring the workforce. Cross-training and job sharing models are going to become very important, especially if you're offering a paid leave and we need to cover for people that aren't going to be working. In some cases, staggered staffing options and adjusting the full-time, part-time mix is also very important. We go into restaurants and do some HR advising, and sometimes we ask our operators, how do you determine what your full-time to part-time mix is going to be? And many times we hear that it's based on the availability of my employees. So that's a very reactive approach to staffing. We're going to look at providing a proactive report to this full-time, part-time mix. Let's talk about our family-friendly benefits. These 6 categories here represent about 16 practices and policies that you can find on the Family Forward North Carolina website in their resource guide. This resource guide is a wealth of information. I highly recommend that everyone on the call downloads it and shares it with other people, because there's fantastic information that could really help get you started when thinking about family-friendly benefits. So let's talk about a couple of these. Paid leave, we have spoke about that. It's really important. It's going to continue to be important. And again, it's going to be the price of entry. If you're not offering a paid leave sooner than later, your employees are going to go to another location that does offer paid leave. Flexible work is important, and it's not as complicated as it seems. Pre-COVID, we had a client that had a very strong lunch business. Their business was continuing to grow and getting busier as more work was coming into the area, and they couldn't afford to add more labor on. What we helped them do was find some employees that were flexible with their work. We went and found some school bus drivers that were willing to drop their kids off at school, come back to the restaurants and work, setting up lunch, working lunch and breaking down lunch, and then getting back in their bus, going to pick up their kids and bringing them home. This was a win-win and provided great results. Predictive scheduling is also not as difficult as it sounds. In the past, we used to schedule, write a schedule Thursday night for Monday. And even if it was a 2-week schedule, it really didn't give our employees an opportunity to plan properly. That's going to have to change. Health and wellness benefits, again, very important, and that's coming. Lastly is childcare that I want to touch on. And this is one of the biggest challenges, as you heard earlier, facing our workforce. Over 2 million parents are not coming back to work and can't figure out how to get back to work. Enter in this part-time mix may be the way to accommodate them. But at a minimum, when you're going to start out thinking about childcare, the first thing you should do is look at your attendance policies and change the way you discipline somebody that is late or absent due to a childcare issue. And lastly, again, is the EAPs. These are very important. Again, Performentor can help you institute that. The cost of an EAP is going to be less than $2.50 per employee per month. So let's look at a quick poll. Which of these family benefits, these categories of benefits, do you think is going to have the most impact on your employees?
Okay. So I'll share the results with you. As you can see, not surprising within the industry here today, we see that paid leave and flexible work would be most important for you. So thanks. All right, back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Lisa. So let's move forward to the next piece. We want to talk about, again, the predictive scheduling and flexible scheduling, as well as paid leave. These are the two that I think are going to have the biggest impact on your employees. Predictive and flexible scheduling, the benefits are enormous. This is a short list. You can find many more benefits listed out in the Family Forward North Carolina Workplace Guide. But there's no doubt a flexible and predictive scheduling for your employees will help reduce your turnover costs, and will improve productivity. And the benefits for the employees is much greater than that, and they can't even put a price on it. That's what we're talking about when it's more than just a monetary paycheck. By offering this type of scheduling, parents can plan for childcare. This reduces their stress and also gives them comfort in being able to take care of their kids if they're not feeling well. And paid sick leave. We can't stress this enough. The benefits to the employers are fairly obvious, but the benefits to the parents, again, become intrinsic and really will drive your retention. If you're offering a paid sick leave, many parents are not going to change jobs because they're going to stay with that paid sick leave. It's an advantage to your employment brand. And it's a big benefit to the children as well. As you review this list, think about there's enough data out there now to really prove that paid sick leave reduces your turnover. So why not look at the cost of turnover and spend some of that money up front by offering paid sick leave, and it will balance out. I'm going to share some of our questions we asked Katie Budden, and she does touch around some of this. It's really amazing the work that she's done over time and what she's able to provide for her employees.
We've always felt that family-friendly practices in our workplace have been really important. Over the years, we were making it a priority to add a new benefit each year, really building those out. Before the pandemic hit, we were offering things like kind of unique ideas around health insurance, paid time off. We had just built out lactation rooms in each of our facilities. We were really like thinking about and making strides in kind of advanced scheduling. And we've always, flexible scheduling has always been really important to us. When the pandemic hit, there were a few things that immediately came apparent to us that we needed to beef up. One of them was our sick day offering. We had always kind of offered sick days to our salaried manager level employees, but we knew that it was something that was important for everybody. So we started adding a sick day benefit to all of our workers starting on their first day of employment with us. And then we kind of beefed up our paid time off policy as well, and have been really strict about our offerings related to time off with COVID needs. So basically, if a doctor determines that an employee based on symptoms or potential exposure needs to be tested or stay home in quarantine, we added extra protection for our workers to ensure that those types of scenarios that would always be paid, no matter how often that happened. And we've really stuck by that. And I think that that's really important in this time because it's contributing to the feeling of safety and health of our workers in our workplace. Over this past year, there are some practices that we've really had to change and think about, and it switched our kind of mentality on. The very first thing is the importance of communication and transparency with our teams. We implemented from the beginning, when we had to shut down our dining rooms in March and laid off all of our workers, the very first thing we did was unemployment support. It was helping them enroll and get access to the unemployment benefits that they had available to them, and really helping hold their hand through that process. And that was extremely important. And then from there, it was continuing communication. So email communication, then we set up these regular Zoom meetings with our teams where we meet as a group and over Zoom every other month. And we kind of dive into issues that are their concerns. We get to hear any things that they're worried about, and then be able to respond to those and have open dialogue. And that has been really important for us during this time. The other one is just our continued we're very firm in our beliefs that we want all of our workers to be earning a living wage. And we've watched living wage rates increase. And just recently, 1580, when health insurance is being offered at a workplace, is now the new living wage rate in our community. And we've committed to ensuring that every worker who works for us is making at least that much. And we do pay audits to ensure that that's the case. And we feel really good about standing by that living wage requirement. From the employee perspective, these benefits that we're offering are giving them a sense of trust and integrity that our business holds. I think they feel better. In particular, in this time, our insurance of paying for any time off that they need related to COVID testing or quarantining required by their doctor, that is a big one. The other big thing that we started doing this year that I didn't mention earlier is, our health insurance benefits, we offer kind of a base plan, but then on top of that, we couple it with a direct primary care membership. And we make that membership available from day one of their employment for the direct primary care. And what we're seeing during this time of working with direct primary care physicians is that our workers have faster, more consistent, and better access to healthcare. I mean, in a time that's super crucial for them to have that, it's been one of the major changes that we've made that I think is having the most positive impact. So what I think it'll do is reduce turnover over time in our industry. I think people see that we have these family-friendly benefits, and that's our focus, and we're seeing that happen. We're seeing workers have children and continue working, and for those who during a pandemic aren't able to, because it is true, it's a fact, childcare is extremely challenging right now. We're having conversations with them so that we can continue to help them with any sort of unemployment information that they might need, assuring them that they need to be reaching out to us when they are at a place that they are able to work again, or childcare issues have no longer been a concern, and that we will work with them on scheduling and whether they need daytime or nighttime or whatever flexibility that we can possibly offer based on the position that they're in, and that feels really, really good. The ripple effects are enormous. It is true that the first barrier as, a small business owner that comes to mind is the financial cost of offering more benefits to your workers. I mean, margins are tight, particularly in the hospitality industry, and it can feel like too much to take on. I think that what we did was we've been open, we're hitting our 10-year anniversary this year. And what we did is we did not get to where we are today in 1 year. Over 10 years, we have added one at a time, or some years two things where we just dipped our toe in. We were like, we're going to do this and see what the impact is. And what we have seen every single time we have done that is that the cost of turnover is really high. And it's not only a financial cost, it's a stress cost on your teams, on your managers, on their coworkers. The idea of having to last minute fill in shifts because another person left, and needing to bring on a new person and get them onboarded. I mean, it takes months, probably 6 months to a year, for somebody really to get invested in a restaurant's culture and understand the place that they're working. So, we've just seen that the cost of adding these benefits, one at a time over a course of 10 years has saved us money overall, and stress and worry in watching our turnover drop.
It was a great testimony by Katie. Could not have scripted it any better. And she touches upon all the things that are most important to our employees, and they're all family forward benefits. Talked about paid leave, living wage, health and wellness benefits, flexible scheduling. I heard about communication, which leads to this trust strategy. just amazing. Let's talk a little bit about part-time workers. We feel this can be a very big early advantage for you. What we're thinking about here is the part-time workers of the past, again, are not the same ones that we're going to be hiring now. These are going to be people that are going back into the workforce. These are going to be people that at this point don't want to go back to a full-time job. They want to have multiple part-time jobs that supports the actual millennial base, but also is an area of protection for employees not wanting to put all their eggs in one basket. So when we look at friendly family benefits and what can you offer, this is intended to hire part-time people that want to work for you versus need to work for you. And that will be the big difference. So we're talking about leave, prorated leave, short-term disability, there's a catastrophic insurance, telemed, all of these things can be offered voluntary as well. So as Katie's mentioning, not to jump in with both feet, we can offer the part-time benefits, the same benefits you're offering full-time, but have it a voluntary or prorated based on tenure. So these are some of the things that we're advocating to do because you're going to need to really build this part-time workforce. So what should we be doing now? Where is the focus going to be? It's really, it's really important to take a look at these low cost and no cost or neutral family forward options. Again, look at the resource guide, follow this program, sign up for the rest of this program. At Performentor, we can offer some customized plans that will really help you implement family-friendly options. Understand that the motivators of our changing workforce are going to be different than what it used to be. And when you do understand that, how we can make them great employees. A clear, transparent communication plan is going to be important. Again, that speaks to this trust strategy, making sure that everybody understands that there is an environment of social awareness. And lastly is leading your team with a people first mentality, challenging the processes of how things have been done and how they've always been done and what we can do moving forward. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Lisa to talk a little bit more about Family Forward North Carolina.
Thanks, Jim. So just to wrap it up, as Jim mentioned, our guide to family-friendly workplaces is on the website, very easy to navigate. You could not only look through the various policies, consider which ones might be appropriate for your industry, but also we've written some great case studies about businesses who have been able to offer benefits, the type of benefits they offer. We interview employees to understand the value of it for them. So I'd urge you to look at that. And then here's what our rapid response program offers really in concrete ways. So today on the call, we have Amy Berry and other folks from the Partnership for Children of Buncombe County. And they also act as the child care resource and referral program. And in addition to being able to provide your employees with some opportunities for child care, you can also be looking at other options. For example, can you pay a stipend? Is there backup child care so that when someone loses their care for a day for whatever reason, they don't end up being absent? So the team over there can really help you. And I would urge you to go to the Buncombe County Partnership for Children website, and you could find that information. And we will send it out to you in our follow-up email. You saw the expertise that Jim can provide. There's also assessment tools. Part of them are in this guide that we've created for family-friendly workplaces, estimating that cost of turnover in a very concrete way, and thinking about how can I take those next steps, especially as Katie mentioned, you have a plan, and then over time, you consider how you can implement them. So in the follow-up that I'll send you, we'll be sharing 2 more pre-recorded webinars. They're about 30 minutes each, and they move into these issues around resilience, safety, security for workers, and also the Return to Work Kit, as I mentioned. I'll send you a link to that. It's a companion to the webinars. It's self-guided if you'd like to work on your own. In working with our team, you can customize a plan that they have to help you figure out what benefits you'd want to and can implement. And also, we do have a short application, as I mentioned on the outset, and we'd love to work with you. so that Jim and the rest of our team can coach you and help you think about what the opportunities are in your workplace. Our website, as I said, you could find the guide. If you're interested in that one-on-one support, you can go to the Return to Work page. And I also wanted to mention earlier, I forgot why Katie wasn't able to attend in person today. Today actually is her staff meeting with everyone who works in her businesses. And it's really the HR meeting where they talk through the issues that are going on with everybody and the benefits program. So pretty timely meeting for them, and obvious why she wasn't able to attend. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Pat.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jim, and our co-hosts and partners. And it was great to hear from Katie Button and gain insight on how she's managed to offer the benefits to her employees, and interesting that her note about developing this program over the past 10 years. So, don't expect to do everything right away. I thought that was great insight. So I hope you found this program helpful and that it sparked new ideas to consider for your own businesses in this ever-changing situation. A quick reminder that you will receive a follow-up from Lisa and her team this week with a link to the recorded program and information on the opportunities that they're offering. And as a note, we will also be posting these materials and a recording of today's webinar on our industry website, ashevillecvb.com, for handy reference. So thanks again, everyone. I hope everyone has a great day.